So, I did my film analysis on the film I Care a Lot, which was about guardianship abuse, healthcare law, and ethics. So, a bit of a summary about the movie. It was kind of like a dark comedy thriller. Um, it went through the lives of a professional guardian and essentially her victims. The professional guardian's name's Marla Grayson, and she exploited elderly individuals, and she did that by declaring them incompetent and taking over their estate essentially. So she would seize control of all of their assets, whether that be their home, any money that they had, and then she would sell them and profit off of it. And she would also place them into assisted living facilities since she did deem them as incompetent. Um, the movie itself kind of unravels, and her scheme falls apart when she targeted a woman who was not incompetent, and she was very connected to dangerous criminals. Um, and the film also demonstrated the ease of how uh, guardians can manipulate the legal guardianship system and take people's assets. So the connection with healthcare law and ethics, there's a lot of guardianship abuse in the movie, and it highlighted how easily the legal system can be manipulated and exploited. Also, the power of guardians' authority to make the healthcare, financial, and personal decisions on behalf of the person that they deemed incompetent. And then there was also ethical violations with lack of oversight, and like there wasn't any checks and balances in place to prevent this from happening. The judge would let the rulings go through without seeing the patients. There's a lot of conflicts of interest. The doctor was corrupt as well and would sign off on everything. And so there was fraudulent medical evaluations that were taking place in the movie. And that was pretty infuriating. But there were a lot of different ethical and legal issues in that within the whole movie itself. Some ethical issues, informed consent, because elderly individuals were stripped of their decision making rights without proper justification. There was no proper steps going through to make sure that these individuals were or were not competent. So they were taken advantage of. And then, especially with autonomy, which would be the basic human right to make misconduct with the corrupt doctor, the fraudulent guardianship claims, even the judge didn't seem to care either about what was going on. And then the relevance of this movie, there was a lot of real world examples of the corruption and how weak the healthcare laws were, and there were not any checks and balances put in place to prevent situations like these from happening. And then there was also failure for patient advocacy and legal accountability, especially for elder protection. And then also the movie itself encouraged like critical thinking on how either professionals or policymakers can strengthen these laws or checks and balances so it could prevent stuff like this from happening in real life. A key takeaway from this was that there needs to be checks and balances in place. There needs to be more interdisciplinary collaboration with healthcare and legal systems so they can work together to prevent elder abuse, and then more ethical vigilance to prevent the abuse, and advocacy to create more laws and checks and balances and help better protect vulnerable individuals and elderly individuals. And that was it. Thank you.